Hello, everybody. We're going to make a quick video on Armada Crewing. Uh, I'm doing this specifically to help my alliance, but it's going to be public, so anybody on server 97 that is also struggling, or any other server for that matter, that finds this video struggling with Armada Crewing, hopefully this helps. Now, I am on server 97. As I said, it is a new server. Max level is 39. And I will be speaking on crewing from that aspect. So we're going to go over both group and solo armadas. Group armadas being anything done with your alliance. Solo armadas being anything you do on your own. Solo is specifically Jem'Hadar and Borg armadas. So, group armadas, top officers that I find so far, off of all the content that I've consumed, everything that I've looked at, everything that I've personally done. We're going to go, like, this right here is the best one so far. Chakotay, Janeway, and the Doctor. You can replace the Doctor with anybody else, but I feel Chakotay and Janeway is hands down necessity. Chakotay for increased shots, Janeway for isolytic damage. Isolytic damage, for those of you that don't know, completely bypass shields. It bypasses mitigation, essentially. This is just direct damage to the hull. You can't go wrong with that. Next crew. You can do Kirk, Spock, and then you can either do Nero or Khan. You're going to do this based on the makeup of the Armada, or if you're running an auger and no one else has burning, then you will run burning, whether it's Nero or Giorgio. You just want burning. The auger gets cumulative damage for burning. Cumulative meaning every round it stacks. So again, Kirk, Spock, either Nero for burning or Gorkon for hull breach. Hull breach just gives everybody more damage. Next, what was widely considered the best Armada crew, I think, and I dare say that the Chakotay, Janeway, insert next Voyager officer crew has replaced these guys. I'm not sure. But for me personally, they do more damage. So this would be another top tier. But for me, not as good as Chakotay, Janeway, any other Voyager crew. We got 5, 6, and Khan. So you got mitigation, increased damage, and cumulative crit chance. Again, cumulative meaning it stacks. So you're just building up crit. Now, if the Armadas are only lasting like 8 rounds, then this really doesn't matter too much. But if you're doing like high level Armadas and they're lasting 20, 40 rounds, this really comes in handy. Those are the 3, I'd say, top tier crews currently that you can run. If you don't have these crews and you're just starting out, say you're Ops 23 or higher, but you don't have these crews, and keep in mind you need these 2 specific people and another Voyager crew. If you don't have that, you shouldn't really be running this, because it is going to be suboptimal. You can probably get away with Chakotay and Janeway and just a random third person here that makes sense. I want to stress that makes sense. Either some sort of mitigation or burning or hull breach. And it would still probably be good. But I would highly recommend, if you don't have 3 Chakotay Janeway and somebody else from Voyager not to run this. So what do you run if you don't have these? If you're not a spender, you're free to play, you barely have officers, you don't have Spock even upgraded very much, because in order for Spock to be effective, he needs to be at least rank 4. If you don't have rank 4 Spock, you shouldn't be running him. The caveat is you can run Bones as captain with Kirk and Spock, because Bones increases the other officer's abilities, and it could increase Spock's enough to really, be okay. If you have to run Bones, it's not the best scenario. At best, you're just you're an extra body in the Armada, which does help. Don't get me wrong. I would say try to run a different crew, but Bones, Spock, and Kirk is a valid crew. So just so you can see what that looks like. Bones as the captain, Kirk, and then Spock. So Bones increases 20% to all officer abilities. All right, and Spock, being the key part here, gives you shield health. It's basically shield regen. Mine is maxed, so that's 750%, and then an extra 20% on top of that. And then Kirk being the one giving you the morale. If you don't have Kirk, I think Sulu is another valid option as captain. But again, your Spock would need to be at least rank 4. So if you don't have that, even going all the way back, every single person on server 97 has these officers because you start with them. You're going to have LaForge, Data, and you can either go Crusher or Troy. They're both helps with mitigation. Crusher helps with mitigation by increasing the captain ability, but I think Troy might be better math-wise because it's only a 12% boost to the captain's ability. So I don't know. You could do the math on it if you want, but Troy. Instead of Troy, you can also run Chen. That's 30% if she's maxed, decreased energy weapon damage, and there's a lot of energy weapon damage from armadas. If she's not maxed, you'll probably want to go with Troy or Crusher. That being said, for lower level armadas, if your group is not pushing high level armadas and really trying to punch up, so as they say, then you can run Pike, Moreau, Chen. I know that's going to make some people's toes curl, but it's a lot of mitigation, and it keeps your ship in the fight for presumably the whole fight, which is good. So you can run Pike, Moreau, Chen if you literally just have nothing else, but you should be able to run this. Everybody has this. As well, everyone should eventually quickly get the cadet crew. This crew is the exact same thing as the next gen crew. Uhura replaces LaForge, Kirk replaces Data, and Spock replaces Troy. Same crew, does the same exact thing. Everyone should also have this as well. You unlock these guys really quick. So that's for group armadas. Solo armadas, by the time you get there, most people doing solo armadas should have some form of these crews that I showed earlier. So this is actually my solo armada crew. I run Chakotay Janeway Doctor on the Enterprise. I run Kirk, Spock, Nero on the Augur. And I run 5-6 Con on my D4. Now, these ships can be G3s. You can have a Burrell here. You can have an Intrepid. You can do 3 G3s, right? You don't have to have these rare ships, right? You don't have to have this. This helps you push higher, but for the initial armadas, for the things that you need to pull in your refinery, the G3 rares and intermixing some G3 uncommons, even say the Saladin. Most people have the Saladin. But as long as, if I can find it, as long as you're getting the uncommons to pull here, you're good. And then the same for the Jem'Hadar, which is in the faction. You get a chest here. Where is it? Right here. The uncommon from the Jem'Hadar. Pull that, gives you credits and diplomacy tokens. The rest of this stuff is kind of just whatever. But these are the two things you're really wanting out of here, the Bajoran credits and the diplomacy tokens. And then with those diplomacy tokens and these other credits here, the Dominion Solo Armada Edicts, you're going to get those from the Solo Armadas. It's a secondary loot that you get. You're going to pull this chest, which is, also, again, going to give you diplomacy tokens, credits. This is whatever. You really are looking for these right here. Cisco, Kira, O'Brien. This is going to be another one of your crews once you unlock them. Okay, these are great. You can use this in your normal armadas, your group armadas, and then you can also use these in your solo armadas. This is a really good crew right here. So back to the crewing. This crew is what I use. Okay, so I use what's basically the best that I have right now. The only thing that I would change eventually is changing out this crew with the Cisco, Kira, and O'Brien. And then I'd have to run the numbers and kind of run it a couple times and see if it's better to still have burning somehow, some way. Because burning just really benefits the auger. It's 140% increase of all weapon damage on the auger every single round. It stacks. So if you're going quite a few rounds, this would probably be better. But if the Armada is only going like 8 rounds, then it doesn't matter, I don't think. So that would be my next crew. That is the next crew that I'm working on. So Cisco, Changeling Kira, and Miles O'Brien. That would be the only thing I'd change. If you don't have these officers, once again, you do have... Why do I keep going to switch ship? Stop it. Assign officers. You do have the next generation. Now, granted, when you get to 35, you should have some form of these crews. You should. And you should have Spock, like to tier 4, if not maxed by now. You should have this. But if by some chance you don't, Picard, Beverly, and you can run Worf, because that's just more mitigation. Or instead of Worf, you can run your Nero or Gorkon, or Lorca if you have Lorca at this point, or Giorgio if you have Giorgio at this point. You can run that. That's also burning and hull breach. So this is valid. If you want, you can swap them around. She gives you more mitigation. And then again, you've got the next generation crew, as I said, Forge, Data, Troy, and then the cadet crew. So if you only have like one good crew, say you have 5, 6, and Con, but that's really it, then you can run LaForge, Data, Troy, and then the cadets on your other 2 ships, and that's going to be fine too. I'm quite certain you can get those. Um, I know I can with my ships and my research, so I'm not even going to bother trying just doing it just to say, oh, look, here it works, because you're going to turn around and then say, oh yeah, but you have these badass ships and I have a lot of research, and that takes into account. But I guarantee you, okay, I would be willing to bet you can come here to these starting systems with, oh god, the bug, with the 35 Jem'Hadar flagships, and you can do these with those crews. And G3 uncommon, a mixture of G3 uncommon and G3 rare, you know, however you want to mix them up, you're going to be able to do these. I guarantee it. Same thing with the Borg. The caveat to that, the caveat to the Borg in the 35 systems, this is where you're going to start testing the waters here. If you're blowing these out of the water, then I highly recommend moving over, and you're going to go here. Pitoran. It's a 42 system, but it's also got rares and epics. This is where I do my Borg solo armadas, and I can easily do all these armadas in here. Easy. But for those of you just starting out, level 35, you're going to be here. What you're going to need, though, before doing these, you're going to go into your research tree under combat. You're going to scroll over. You need this. And it depends on what ships you're using. If you don't have enough to upgrade all of them, then upgrade only what you need based on your ships, Federation, Klingon, or Romulan. Keep in mind, this is talking about, when it says Federation, Klingon, or Romulan, it's talking about the faction ships, okay? When it says Federation, it doesn't mean the Voyager. It doesn't mean, what's that other ship? Oh God, why am I blanking on this? Why am I doing this? The Defiant. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Okay, it's talking about what you get from the faction blueprints. If you don't get it out of the Federation, Klingon, or Romulan faction store, right? I mean, obviously you don't have to get it out of here. You can get it from hostile drops and shit. But it's talking about these ships. We're not talking about the specialty ships like the Titan, the Defiant, the Cerritos, the Voyager. We're not talking about those ships. Those do not count. And then, of course, you should also have your Talios, or not Talios, but Vidar at 35 as well. I don't recall exactly how you get it, but I recall it being essentially free and relatively quick. So you're going to need those because of the damage boost that it gives you. They're going to look scary, the Borg cubes. They're like 92 million power or something. But I assure you, with those upgrades, this is nothing. 91.6 million power. This is nothing. And again, G3 rares, the G3 uncommons mixed in. You got this. So you're going to run the strongest crew you've got, put it on one of your strongest ships, and then your other two ships, put your next gen and your cadets, and you're good. If you have these officers that I run, you're great. You're good. You're all set. But that's Armadas in a nutshell. And that's all you guys have to do. They're very simple, very easy. If you have any questions, hit me up on Discord. I'm in the server 97 Discord. Hit me up in game. Pretty much everybody on 97 knows me. Love me or hate me. But if you have any questions, I'm willing to give some one-on-one time and help you. If you don't have these officers, or for whatever reason, I can do a little one-on session with you, do some screen sharing, whatever, and I guarantee you we can get you doing solo armadas, and we can get your best group armada crew running. So that's all I got. Have a good one. Take it easy.